Directly to the castle.
That's right. All right, let's see what happened last session. It's been quite a while, so my apologies, guys, but I think we can get back on the road here. Tim will be with us next time, but until then, let's see. You guys, recap. Started off in the attic of the coffin maker's house and shop. Vasily, Victor, and Mornak made their way into the coffin maker's bedroom, where they discovered the bones of St. Andrew in a sack at the chest foot of the bed. Was that last session, or was that the session before?
That was the session before, I think.
Yeah, that was the session.
The last session we had the fight, and then we had the fight, and we basically did a lot of talking.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
No, this was after the fight, yeah.
Let's see, you guys heard the sound of the scuffle, smashing window. Mud was ambushed by 6 vampire spawn. You guys ran over, saw the vampire spawn. Mud was out on the ground, laying there. He had several vampire spawn on him. Several stayed up in the attic. So you guys kind of split the fight a little bit. Outside, Isaac was ambushed by a pack of dire wolves, who he was able to battle off, cleaving them in half, ripping them apart with his wicked-looking axe. His strange arm was covered in these black flames, which he used to burn the wolves alive as he hurled them off of him. A cart rolled into town with this sickly-looking horses and carriage driver. From the cabin emerged a tall man with pale skin, gleaming black leather armor, and a long, billowing cape flowed behind him. 4 more creatures pulled themselves from the carriage, slinking behind him, kind of like puppets and feral animals. This man, he stopped at the door of the Blue Water Inn, where he beckoned Irina to come forward, and she did. It looked like he was saying something to her. Mud, you would have been able to get the best view of that. When you saw her moving towards the door, it was almost like she was doing so against her will. But she came forward, he said something to her, she nodded, stepped out onto the main porch area and took a seat as he walked away and made his way down the road towards the Church of St. Andrew. His minions, these puppeteer, feral-like ghoul things and pack of wolves, began pulling people from houses, eating them alive on the streets. Let's see, guys, continue your battle against the vampire spawn. Mud outside with the others inside, eventually picking them off and gaining an advantage. I think everybody fell here and there a little bit, but was able to get back up throughout the fights. Isaac ripped the jaws apart of the last wolf and threw the carcass aside before rushing across the street, grabbing Irina and dragging her forcibly away towards the eastern gates of the city. Upon the hill, the church erupted in an explosion, then a second and finally a third, as the entire place erupted in raging flames. You guys took care of the last of the vampire spawn. Vasily snuck over to the carriage and took a small box from the back carriage area. Upon opening it, there was another Taraka card, which was the Horseman. After taking care of the last of the spawn, the party limped over to the Blue Water Inn, where Irwin helped to stabilize the fallen comrades. There was a man in the back corner who was sitting in a chair, his feet propped up on a table, hat tipped forward. As everybody settled in and was trying to lick their wounds a little bit, he stood up and strode forward, his hat hiding most of his features till he came closer. You all recognized him as Rahadin, the servant of the devil, and this man with the elven skin cloak that Mornak once touched. He tossed a letter to Vasily, took a courtesy bow with a smile before walking out. You guys could see him walking down the street whistling as the carriage turned and started to pull away as well. The letter, once Vasily opened it, was a personal invitation from Strahd von Zarovich, inviting you all to have dinner with him, including safe passage in his carriage and under polite terms. From there, Irwin gave you a little bit of odds and ends, some healing potions, and I think I'm going to say Vasily has that invisibility ring, because I'm assuming Dre is not with us anymore, so I don't know about that, but we'll just say that Vasily has the ring, so you guys have it on hand. And I think that is it, unless anybody wishes to add anything else. You didn't really have a full plan in mind, but you did mention chasing after Irina, but that kind of ended it there. So
yeah, I believe our intention was post-haste go after Irina.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, I remember that too. We all got fully healed. No, I got fully healed. Mud got healed for a good portion, but I don't think he's up to full. We all have, I think, healing potions. But weren't you going to send us the invitation, Morgan? Like
Yes.
over Facebook?
Yes.
I could have swore you said something. Or okay,
I'm pretty sure it's
'cause
still
you said
there.
you was going to do it last session, but I don't think you did. I don't remember seeing it. But that just might be me. I don't know.
I do have it, so maybe I didn't send it, but let me check. Maybe I just didn't send it. If not, I'll read it for you, though. Let's see. Yes, it's in there. It's pretty high up. Let me
Okay.
save image. I'll resend it here.
I'm just trying to remember all the abilities and shit that I get, so I'm having to look at the class.
All right, it says, "My friends, know that it is I who brought you to this land, my home," and it's kind of blurred out with watermarks and stuff, so you can't quite tell what it says. "That I alone can release you, and that I alone can release you from it. I bid you dine into my castle so that we can meet in civilized surroundings. Your passage here will be a safe one, and I await your arrival. Your host, Strahd von Zerovich." And Stefani is the one that mentioned that from what they know of Strahd's past, he is nobility and he is um, not really controlled, but he does follow that honor and that noble graciousness, and he sort of expects people to follow the rules and the guidelines and stuff like that. So he's not going to say that you're safe and then turn around and backstab you or anything like that. He's evil, but he follows the law per se. Anything else? We'll wait for Victor to get back in here and then jump right in.
So actually, if I can remember which way did he take Arena?
To the eastern gates, which would have been out as if headed back towards the town of Barovia. The same gate you guys came in at is the one where he headed out.
Right.
So I got that would be the eastern on the map, to the right on the map. And I did put in an updated map in there for you guys too.
You did.
To see where you've been so far, and
which, if I remember correctly, he took her back towards the castle.
It would be in that direction, yes. Yep.
So, if I remember correctly, the plan was to just gather horses and follow along.
Yeah, Irwin does have horses. Well, he had a couple, but the mayor as well has some, which between them you could get some horses and on the road if that's what you wish to do.
Moynak, what do you say? Do we go get her back?
We don't have another choice.
You can see Stefani and Irwin are there with you. Well, Irwin's wife as well, Danica. But Stefani will step forward and, "So what is it about this girl that interests you so? Why does it matter if that brute of a man takes her? I think we have more important matters at hand, don't we? What of the church that is in flames? The winery that's been attacked? These primitive druids on the hills? I believe we should best pick our battles."
We've done what we can for the winery. The church will burn, be rebuilt. That's a life that needs saved.
That church is everything to these people. And What of these bones that Vasily mentioned? Vasily is the one who has St. Andrew's bones at the moment.
When you bury these bones again, the town should become safe again.
I don't know if it ever truly was. I mean, it seems rather superstitious that the devil couldn't come here because some old saggy-boned bastard was buried in the ground. Doesn't make much sense to me. We can't. The girl doesn't matter. We need to find these relics. We need to take care of these druids and take this fight to the devil himself. What of this invitation? Let me come with you.
The only reason we're here is we were brought in to protect one person.
He has a brother. Where is he now? What about him? Can't he protect his own?
And I'm sorry, who's this coming from again?
Stefania.
We've stepped out of our way to protect others. Why are we being questioned now? This is important. That creature that took her away is a bane to this town and a bane to the people.
Mornack's going to shrug his pack off, open it up, and pull out the dolls. He's been collecting these for years. He's got some twisted fantasy for her. He's at best a serial killer running away with her. This is what we're here to do.
He says, I understand that. And perhaps you have connections with this young lady, but I don't understand how that is more important than dealing with the devil. We have him now. We can go and meet him and take care of this whole thing. What does this girl have to do with any of that? So it seems like it is nothing but out of our way. Perhaps I'm wrong. I don't know her well. I saw you come into town with her and her brother. I just don't understand what she has to do with any of this. Or why she matters, or why Isaac matters. Clearly he wasn't here for them.
These are good questions that we've got to spend some time answering, but there's no point in answering them if she's already dead. So we need to rescue her. Then we'll meet with the devil.
Very well. If I aid you in this, will you let me come with you to the devil's castle?
If that's the end game, I'm not going to say no to any allies.
As if nothing else, perhaps we can learn of a weakness, or a way to sneak into the place, or some sort of upper hand against him. They think it is a waste of time for this girl, but if she is that important, it somehow plays into this, then so be it. I will at least lend my aid.
Sorry. Let's gather our horses then. Let's chase after this. We cannot leave. The devil wants her. That may play into what we need.
Says,
But
what
if
do you
that-
mean the devil wants her?
Why do you think we got her out of Barovia?
I do not know. I only saw you traveling with her and her foolish brother.
She's a target of the devil. The devil
She's
keeps
perhaps
visiting her.
what he wants.
Then why is it he didn't take her when he had her?
Because the devil plays a long game.
That makes sense, I suppose. It's not like he's pressed for time. I wonder what he has to do with this. You should ask her. Well then, let me get the horses out back. I don't need one. I'll fly above and keep watch. She'll turn and head out back to the stables to get the horses around. It'll be 5 or 6 minutes before she comes around. You got 3 of you going. The Sealy could probably pair up with one of you guys. So yeah, she'll bring like 3 horses around.
Did we see the burgomaster come out at all during this time?
Oh no, of course not. You would have seen many of the guards around his house protecting it and stuff, but you would have seen absolutely no sign of the burgomaster or his wife or son.
So problems in the middle of the street, they don't care. Their sheriff runs off, they don't care.
Nobody seems to really. If you step outside and look around, there's definitely a lot of the guards people and some of the other people from the church that are still alive and stuff, helping those that are injured and moving the dead and stuff. But yeah, you don't see the burgomaster, and people don't really seem too concerned about Isaac not being around right now, or else you just aren't saying anything.
They're probably traumatized from the attack.
You can definitely see people are traumatized for sure. Yeah, there's nothing like this that's ever happened here. Everybody expected the bones to keep them safe, but without the bones in the church. Actually, everybody, give me a perception check.
Seven.
You see a bottle of wine in your hand.
13.
How'd that get there?
25 from Victor.
All right, so Victor, you'll step out as Stefania brings these horses around. And Mornik prepares his, and Mud will step over getting his ready as well. If you look around, Victor, the people definitely look shaken up. Quite a few injured people, several dead as well, scattered about. People running from the church that's currently still engulfed in flames down the main road towards the town square and stuff. But you'll hear this yelling, scream. It sounds like arguing. It sounds like people issuing out orders or something. Glance over your shoulder. You'll see 2 men, maybe in their mid to early 20s, quite beefy. You'll recognize them as the pair of gentlemen you met on the first night here that Mud tried to kidnap. But as they come down, and there's this tall woman behind him, this black gray gown that hangs off of her. She's very frail looking, and she screeched out, "Do not bother them people. Come, these others. Now leave that man to die. He's already gone. We do not have time for this. Somebody get the burgomaster." And she's ordering all these people around who are scurrying like rats as they try to get away and follow her orders. All 3 of them making their way down the streets. You'll see this one gentleman, probably the one that you grabbed a hold of, Mud. I don't remember which one it was offhand, but Carl and Nikolai are their names. Point to you and be like, "That is them, Mother. They're the ones who came into town. I think they're the cause of all of this." You'll see this tall, skeletal-looking lady. His eyes are dark black as she looks in your direction and starts moving towards you all.
I'm gonna tap Mornek, and then of course he's not looking at me. He's looking at his wine. So I'll shake the wine and make sure I get his attention, and then like point and like, is that your mother?
It is not Mother Mornek.
No, that's not Mother.
Well, I mean, Victor gets very confused, and he's been hearing mother, and there's technically like two mothers, I think, floating around technically, but like Victor's the one.
No, that's not Mother. That's just some old bossy woman.
Well,
I
it
think,
looks like she's coming here to come after you guys, because I technically wasn't with you in the beginning, so I have no idea what's going on. So I'm pretty shocked that I actually recognize these people that's coming down after us. But that being said, are they hostile? Or she looks pretty pissed at y'all.
Yeah, they don't have weapons or anything, but she looks more pissed off as she's marching towards you.
I think Bud will continue getting the.
And also, we don't
ready.
necessarily have time for this. We need to get on Irina's trail.
Yeah, Mud's focused on
Go
getting the
ahead, Mud.
horses ready, and if this woman, I recognize the sons. If they get too close, Mud will just turn around in full bestial fury and just give them a grail. Won't even acknowledge them.
Well, I mean, you guys are a fair ways down the road. They're coming towards you, but I mean, if you were to get on your horses and go, there's not like they can really stop you from where they're at.
I give her the finger, but I'm running out of those.
You can use your toes, like flip her off with your toes.
Ornek's trying to figure out how to mount with this bottle of wine in his hand.
I mean, if our horses are ready,
Yeah.
and they're still working their way down, I am looking to go after Essek and the woman. So I'm going to just mount up and go.
Nice. Everybody else following?
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Vasily is, yeah, I think Vasily is probably mouthing off, like saying something, and I'm just going to grab Vasily and like start making him get up on a horse.
And they would be coming from the opposite direction from where you guys are headed out. So you'd be able to mount up. You can hear issuing out more orders and sort of yelling as you guys take off, but they're far enough back. She isn't really able to do much about it as you guys make your way out of town. As you come around the side of this road and get to the eastern gates, you'll notice when you guys entered this town, the gates were these big raw iron closable gates, double-sided, that opened inward to the town. Both gates are currently on the ground, just pieces of rusted metal and iron, jagged pieces of metal scattered across the ground, almost like they were just rotted right off the hinges, laying on the ground now. You can easily follow Isaac's footsteps and the dragging marks of Irina if you wish to follow those.
Victor, can you follow these prints and keep us on the straight and narrow and after them?
Why, sure I can. And with that, Victor's like wiping the blood away from his eyes, and but yeah, he will start trying to track these guys down. And you did say it was kind of obvious, his footprints, but I'm pretty sure as we continue on, it will get a little bit harder.
Yeah, as you enter out of town, it's raining out pretty heavy. So as you exit out of the town, the first thing you guys will notice is this thick, blackish, gray fog that surrounds the town. It doesn't seem like it really creeps too far into town, and when it is, it's low to the road, low to the ground. But as you cross through that threshold between the city and the outer walls, through that rotted hinged gate, the fog itself out here is as high as you can see, and it's just like thick smoke all around you guys. You'll constantly have to get down, Mornak, dismounting and checking the ground a little bit as you move along. But it seems like Isaac has been following this main path. It's only a few minutes, 10 maybe at the most, before in the distance you can hear this creaking sound. Sounds like that of wagon wheels, occasional splashes, more creaking. All around all of you as you look through this thick fog, you could swear you see faces now and then. You see hands, ghost-like apparitions that claw, pulling themselves across the ground, moan in pain. You'll see amber eyes, wolves, dozens of them. They're always on the outskirts, 10, 15 feet away on either side of the road, almost like they're stalking you, following you. When one set of eyes disappears, another takes its place. As you guys move along, they don't come in close, but they're always just at the edges of your vision. What are you guys doing for light or seeing in the darkness as you pull away from the town and a little bit of light glares through the fog, starts to die off?
I mean, if we have what we need, I would probably just light up a torch. Nothing special. Just dirt, clothes, and fire. No pretty lanterns, no hooded lanterns.
Good classic torch. The horses will be saddled up with some as well, so. Anybody else carrying a torch, or who's carrying a torch?
Mornak's
Since
got shadow
Victor is
sight,
being
so-
tasked to... Oh, okay.
No.
Since Victor is being tasked to be in front and basically like follow the tracks, I think he would carry a torch. Actually, better yet, I think he would try. No, I think we'll just carry a torch. Yeah, never mind.
Victor. Even with your shadow sight, Mornak, it definitely helps you see in the darkness, and gives you a little bit better vision than the others. Same with, I think, Mud, you have it as well. So it does help to a degree, but the thickness of this fog kind of dims it down a little bit. And even with Victor, your torch that you light up and stuff, it helps you see in the darkness of it. But again, it's like a bright light in the fog. It doesn't really get very far. It seems to reflect back at you. But you're able to keep it low enough to the ground and follow these tracks. Even anything farther in the distance, they're just barely pinpoints of light. The only really thing that stands out is this creaking and splashing of wagon wheels that always seem to be just ahead of you, but not able to catch up to it, regardless how fast or slow you go. And these wolves, definitely wolves, that travel along the side of you. You can hear their paws splash. You can hear their growls. You can see their amber eyes reflecting in the torch lights. But they never attack. They never show any offensive. They just stalk you. Everybody give me a will challenge roll with one bane, please.
13.
Good.
9.
Oh, nice. 19.
19. So, Mornak, you're going to be rather feared by these wolves. Something isn't right with these things. But every ounce of you knows that, these wolves, as much as they're stalking you and they're following along and they're not attacking, there's something odd about them, something that isn't quite right. It makes the hairs on the neck of your stand up and gives you that really uneasy feeling that sits in the base of your gut. Something's definitely not right with them.
All of my eyes are looking all different directions frantically.
Yes, all around you. What do the rest of you do as you make your way through this fog, this darkness. Minutes pass. Seems much longer than just a few moments as you just continue to walk. You can't see much more than an occasional tree, perhaps.
This is dangerous. Are we sure we're on the right track? We could be going anywhere at this point.
Mornek and Mud, this will definitely give you guys flashbacks to when you left that old Goat's Horn Inn, running through the night, the pouring rain, this thick fog. It is how you ended up here after all.
I think with that in mind, if anything, probably friend or foe gets too close to Mud at this point, he's probably going to at least make a grab to see who it is.
But at Mud's statement, Victor's going to double check the trail and make sure that it's the right one that we're following.
As you glance down, you can see the impression from the wagon wheels, the splashed puddles that are still drizzling back into their pools. You can see the drags of what looks to be a body. If you had to guess, Victor, Irina's either being dragged forcibly or she's unconscious being dragged, but it doesn't look like she's, like she's walking beside him or be putting up a fight or anything. It's just a flat drag mark that you see along with Isaac's large footprints in the mud. You don't see any blood. Maybe a few drips here and there, but not like a battle or anything.
Is he following a road, or is this just like a random?
Nope, you guys are on the main road. It would be
path that he picked out.
Nope, it'd be the main road, the Svalich Road, which you guys followed in. But yeah, you're on there's really only one main road through, and you're definitely following that, Victor.
Okay. We're on the correct path, Mud. This is the way he went, but it looks like he's dragging Irina. I don't know if she's conscious or not, but he is going this way.
Well, I gotta think the horses know the road out here.
You seem to be clopping along. Definitely nervous, but not, with the wolves following along, but they seem to be quite stall-worthy.
I am,
maybe we should pick up the pace a little?
Yeah, after saying that, I gotta think the horses know the road out here. Mud's going to aggressively, spur the horses on to a breakneck pace, follow the road that you know, and if something's in the way, we'll figure it out.
When he spurs his horse forward, Mornek, yours and Victor, both of you hear the wolves in the distance. Yes, hear the wolves in the distance begin to bark, chasing after.
They're not in the distance anymore. They're getting closer. Right
at your heels as they yap as they're ready to roll. But yes, you break yours into a sprint, Mud. The other two following behind. And it goes through. A minute passes, another, and it's just this thick, heavy fog all around you. It's really hard to know whether you're on the road, whether you're not. Again, every now and then you'll see the flash of shadows in the fog beside you, the flash of these amber eyes that your torchlight glints off of. Within a few moments, you'll see this bead of light in the distance, yellow, glowing, coming towards you, or perhaps you're going towards it. It's hard to say. The speed getting bigger and bigger, brighter and brighter.
Is it above us?
No, it looks like it's right about, person level.
Like a torchlight almost?
Yeah. Yep.
I'll keep on the same speed unless it starts getting really close by, and then I'll slow down and see if I can see what it is.
Give me I'm going to say an agility challenge roll, Mud. As you're going down this path, you keep your horse pretty much on the speed. Comes up, this light will just come right directly at you. You can see a flash just in front of you.
Just a clean roll?
Yep.
12.
12. Yeah, so you're able to pull the horse to the side a little bit as this thing comes right up on you. It was definitely a torch. You see it go spurring to the side. This flash almost sounds like a soft girl's grunt, or not really a scream, but a surprised shout that escapes her lips. And you see her form splatter into the mud on the road beside you, just in the thick of the fog. Definitely a person or a younger girl. Her torch will fizzle out quickly in the mud, the rain.
You there. Who are you?
Everybody else will be able to stop as well. Your horse is kind of slow up as Mud's does. You'll see right at the base of your horse, Victor, this form start picking itself up off of the ground. And you can see it's small, maybe 4 foot at best. Quite frail looking. You can see this long black hair that hangs off of her shoulders around her head as she steps forward into Mud's torchlights. She looks maybe 20, 25 years old, pointed ears, a little bit hairier than most women. Looks a lot like Vasily. And yes, you'll see Vasily look at her for a few moments, and his eyes go wide, and I know her. And Vasily will hop down. I'm going to say he's riding with you, Victor, but he'll hop down and take a few steps forward, and he collapses into the mud. This girl, as all of you take notice of her, looks just like Vasily, a fawn of sorts. Now covered in mud, her torch is completely soaked. She has this great sword strapped across her back. She looks all of you this wide-eyed. Mud, you will notice it the most probably right away. She has basic leather armor, but she does have a metal breastplate. Right in the very center of it is what you would recognize as a symbol of Lathander, or the Lord of Light. But it sort of matches, the symbol on it matches that of like the Morning Lord's book that you have as well. And she will look down at Vasily and I don't know this man. Who is this? Who are you? Where are you from? I heard somebody in the distance crying. Was that you? I mean, I'm just trying to help people here, but who are you? Who are you? Perhaps you got lost out here in the darkness like I did. I was off into the woods. I was searching for a child. Or were you going to say something? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
And I'll keep looking down to Vasily. We were chasing after a kidnap, and Vasily's still just keeping looking around and.
Vasily is on the ground. It looks like he just passed out. He's just flat across the ground. And this young girl, Fawn, whatever she is, will look down. She says, yes, I heard them in the distance. I was trying to find this man. He was grunting and cursing. This woman was whimpering, and I thought that was you. And then I saw the lights, and I was coming towards you, and then you came upon me with this horse, and it was like, oh my God, there was a horse everywhere, and then I was getting thrown to the ground. You really need to learn how to drive that thing, my friend.
No, that is the way we were heading. Didn't we out of character for a second? Didn't Vasily show us a painting in the house that looked like his sister, or
yes.
Was it a drawing or something?
He has a drawing. Yes, and then there was one in that very first house you guys came across that matched it. And he also had a locket that he found on the road that when he opened had sort of like his family's portrait type thing in it. But he does have a sister that went missing years and years ago.
And does this look like her? Or
it matches what you would... Yeah.
I mean, we're also seeing a fawn in the middle of this place.
You would have also known that back when you guys were in Sayre Falls and you watched that March of the Ghosts that went through the Vistani camp, that Vasily did say he saw the ghost of his sister there.
Oh, Yeah, I wanted to notice because I was looking for somebody.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to throw Mudd off a little bit. He's going to say that he was searching for somebody, but he's very thrown off for even seeing another fawn out here.
Victor's gonna hop down off of his horse and go over to Vasily, and he's gonna like try to wake him up. And if he doesn't like succeed on the first time, then he's gonna start slapping him in the face a little bit. If that doesn't work, then he's gonna just start taking mud and like dripping it on his face and just like trying everything in the world to wake him up. If it doesn't succeed,
It'll take a few moments, but you're able to get Vasily away because he looks sort of dazed, and he looks at this other girl. She'll stare back at him as the two sort of have that awkward look at one another. She says, I have not seen another fawn in years. I don't even remember. I don't know how long I've been here. The days, years, decades past, like, not to sound cliche, but like sand through an hourglass. No, I don't quite know. It says, who are you? And who is this man? Vasily is going to be completely, you can see he's trying to talk or trying to do something, but there is no voice. Almost like he's been silenced or something. And he'll motion. He'll take out that.
Are you sure it's not because he's mud all over his face from Victor?
He will take out that locket he has and open it, sort of showing. I guess if you're right there, Mud, because you've seen him look at it before, looking at her, and it definitely matches. And he'll watch her, the two. It'll take a few moments, but Vasily will step forward when he reaches out, like, to try and touch her or something. His hand passes right through her face, very ghost-like. She'll step back and like, don't touch me. I don't like to be touched in those manners. What is your name? Celia will introduce himself, and she'll look to the rest of you.
So, but it was obvious when he reached out that he went through her.
Yes.
I think one will actually just look at Vasily for a minute. Very. I feel bad. Just staring at him, I feel bad. And then Mudd will shake it off. Which way did the man and the woman go?
She'll turn and I heard her cries in the darkness, in the fog. I heard his cursing, his shouting. It sounded like she was in pain, whimpering. So I don't know where they came from. First it was ahead, then it was behind, to the side. I tried to find them. I got lost amongst the trees and the road. And then I saw your light. I thought perhaps that was something, but no, it was just all of you. That's not what I heard. I heard a woman. It's horrible. I think she's hurt or something. Do you know her? Are you looking for her?
I'll lean down to Vasily. Tell her, we're looking for our way out of here. We need to find this woman. But I will probably not directly interact with her again. I'll just talk to Vasily.
Yeah, he'll look forward. You can see he looks like he's getting ready to reach out again, but he sort of stops himself. All of you are going to notice this. Maybe not necessarily pain, but definitely a heartache, I guess, or that sad bit of emotion on his face as he realizes whether or not she's real. She's not at the same time. Yeah, he'll ask Mud and mention this. This young girl will turn to you, Mud, staring at you for a moment. I was sent here to search for a young girl. She was stolen from the Vistani camp to the south. Don't know if you know of it, but I've been searching for her. Buford, that fat, ratted bastard, took her. Been out here for... I don't know how long I've been out here for, searching for her. Her cry is always echoing. I thought perhaps that was her that I heard, but it wasn't. No, it wasn't her that I was searching for. I wish I could help you more, but I don't know. And with that, she'll start to turn. I don't think I can help you. Says, please, leave me alone. She'll turn and start to walk away.
I will, I'll actually reach out and I will look at Vasily and the rest and say, continue on. Let me find out more about this Buford. And what I do next is depending on if everybody leaves or not.
Mornak and Victor, what do you guys do?
Victor's gonna pick up Vasily and put him on the horse, but Victor accidentally puts him on backwards. So then Victor's gonna hop up on the horse and he's gonna kind of take off. Not like super fast, like he's gonna slowly trot and actually see if he can find the trail again. And then kind of slowly trot that way.
It'll take a few moments to get Vasily to pull away. Victor, you can see both, he realizes this isn't really her or a ghost of her or whatever it might be. So he does eventually, follow your motions or your wishes. But it's definitely a side of him it looks quite upset. What about you, Mornak? Do you follow along with Victor and Vasily as they start to move away?
I stepped in a sliver of glass and it went under the
Mornak's gonna
and I didn't catch it.
Mornak's gonna go ahead and actually stay kind of close to Mud and kind of look for his guidance in this, because he doesn't, even though Vasily has gotten backwards onto the horse, Mornak really doesn't feel like this is resolved yet.
So actually, Mud's fine with Mornak being there. Since Mornak, Mud, and Vasily all have been traveling together for a while. But the fact that Vasily's not there and Victor has moved on, Mud will actually reach out for the woman's hands and ask her to sit. And if she does, Mud will start reciting the Night Mother's last rites that he learned from the book at the Hell House. He wants to make sure to send. He wants to make sure Vasily's sister doesn't show up in the parade again. He wants to send her
until the word, right?
over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as she's sort of moving away, do you try to stop her, or do you start reading from the book?
I would actually, I'd grab her, but not hard. I'd reach out and kind of try to take her hand.
Yeah, as you sort of reach out, your hand will pass through her, but she'll stop and turn, as you kind of offer your hand. She'll look at you for a few moments.
Oh, I have it from
Puts her hand in yours as if waiting, what do you want sort of thing. You don't feel her hand in yours, but she places it there.
Please, there's a time for rest. And
oh, did you say where?
I believe your brother
Somebody I used to know at work. His name's
would
Cody.
be calm
So I know a Cody.
if he knew you were at rest.
She says, my time here is not done. I have to find this young girl. I have to stop the devil. I have to bring back the Morning Lord.
We are here to stop the devil. It is time for you to rest. Your brother is destined to stop the devil. It's time to rest.
$60.
With that, Mornak's going to pull out his pipes and begin to play a very sad lullaby.
Give me a. I'm going to say a will challenge roll, Mud.
And
Oh, well, I gotta ask: is this a sad lullaby for Mornak, or is this an actual sad lullaby? Because I'm pretty sure like Mornak's lullaby is like missing his wine.
so
Where's my wine? Where's my wine? My hands are shaking because I'm an addict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think while I'm holding her hand and preparing, talking to her, since her hand's kind of passing through me, what I would do would kind of pick in the moisture around her hand so it actually makes contact. Hence, giving myself the prayer for a vein or boon.
Okay.
Oh, nice. 19 on the die and 4 on the boon. 23.
Beautiful. It'll take a few moments as you explain, what it is you're doing, and she'll turn, watching Vasilius, your bride's voice. I don't recognize him. But I don't recognize her. Remember my past either. Says, promise me something. She'll look at you, Mud. Says, what is your name?
Mud to my friends. Mud to your brother.
Says, well, then promise me something, Mud. I've spent years, I don't know how long, searching these lands, protecting the young girl. But there's something in that book. Something is there. It's been 20 years since the devil awakened. Last time he did, he ravaged these lands, killed the people, all trying to win the love of that girl. Since he wrote it, I saw him write it. I've heard him read from that book. Find that book, Mud. Find his diary. Something is there. I don't know who this girl is, but he wishes for her. It's the only thing I've been searching for.
Find it. If there's anything you can tell me about where, or
the Vistani, they know something of it. I've spent years, but it's as if they don't see me. They don't listen to me. I speak and they walk past me. They don't understand it. But they know something of the book. You'll have to speak with them. And find this young girl. She perhaps is the key to all of this.
And you said, who has her?
It's Buford, that fat bastard. He took her. The others, they screamed and cried out for her. Her mother still weeps to this day. I promised them I would find the girl. I don't think they heard me. I don't think they can see me.
And what is her name and her mother's name?
Because I don't know. They wouldn't tell me. They just looked through me. Didn't even care that I was there.
But Buford's the one we need to find.
Everybody knows him. If all of you wish to get out of here, and you wish to get my brother back home, all of you to get back home, the secrets are in that book. The girl knows something, the Vistani knows something. Just find it for me, Mud. Find that which I couldn't.
I will. And I'll glance out at Victor taking Celia away. Is there anything you want him to know?
Says, no. I recognized him when I saw him. I don't remember him. Can't remember his voice. Don't even really remember what he looks like. I just recognize the heritage. Maybe he's not even my brother. I don't know.
And I'll lay my hand over her. If she still has her one hand in mine, I'll lay my hand over hers. Knowing I can't really touch it, but frosting it up to kind of make the feelings. He's your brother. And he'll finish what you started. And then I'll grab the book and finish the last rites.
So as you go through and read these rites, you'll see bits and pieces of her. It almost does the exact opposite of what you would expect, Mud. You know, when you probably have never really read these rites to a ghost or anything, but as you kind of would imagine bits of her starting to fade away as she's released from these lands, whatever, you'll actually see that her form starts to take more of a substance or flesh, skin, that kind of thing, begins to sort of cover her body. You can see her hair. You can actually feel her hand in yours for a few moments. And then her skin will start to go old. Her fur begins to gray. Her flesh pulls tight over her body. And she'll take a few steps back, and she lets out this ear-piercing scream. Give me a save with will. Mornek, you're there as well, so I'm going to need you to give me a save since you're right there.
I'm actually going to take a bait on this since I'm holding her during it. So 7.
I got a 14.
So as you watch this, Mornek, it's an uneasy feeling that washes over you, and you can see something doesn't quite seem right. But Mud, this does almost the exact opposite of what you expect, as you're looking to sort of release this young girl and have her soul pass on. You can see she starts to take that more solid form again, almost like she's being brought back to life or something. Then her skin gets old, her hair turns gray, bits and pieces start falling out. The skin on her face stretches back. When she screams, you can see the 2 eye teeth on either side start to form. These long, almost canines, these vampiric teeth come forward, and she'll hit the ground and just falls flat there for a few moments. Her body trembling. You can see blood, this black ichor just pouring forth from her mouth from wounds that have erupted across her skin, these lesions that form. And she'll just keep screaming and screaming. You can tell she's in pain, Mud. Just absolute agony as she lies there. It'll take a few moments as you finish reading these rites, and she'll scream agony for a good 15 seconds or so before finally her form will start to split apart. Her body will start to decay in front of you, and you'll see this sort of grayish mist come off of her body and just disappear into the fog around. Through all of this, she's sort of pulled herself over onto the side, but you can see with what skeletal form is still left there, Mud. It does look like the fawn and everything like that. It still has the same sarder skeletal form, but you can definitely see the small horns on either side of her skull, the pointed back ears that are still mummified, and the sharp vampiric teeth in place of her canines. Exactly what happened, you're not really sure, but I'll let you make that of what you will.
Vasily was out of range of this?
I'm assuming Victor was pulling forward, so yeah, probably could hear bits and pieces, but not see it, no.
I think Warnak and Mud have traveled together for a while, and he's seen 1 or 2 lapses in Mud's composure. But this might be a no one for Mornak as Mud grabs him and just gutturally growls, "She went peacefully." Vasily knows nothing of this.
So be it, Mud.
Around the house now.
You're a good man.
So he heard some of it through the drinking haze.
I try to.
And there's nothing. It was all spiritual. There's no remains left. There's
Her
nothing.
skeletal form is still there, yes, and bits of mummified
Skeletal
flesh,
form is still there.
and like the basically mummified body is lying on the ground. Yes, if you
So-
reach down or maybe push it with your boot or something, it's there.
So there was nothing when I tried to touch her earlier, but now there's. Is there any? I mean, I don't want to take any of the skeletal or any of the withered remains, but is there any kind of a signet ring or any kind of jewelry or anything for Vasily to have as a memory?
She really doesn't have anything on her. As you, I guess, maybe go over and move her form a little bit, you'll see that this Morning Lord breastplate that she had on over top of her armor has the symbol sprawling across the chest, which looks like a rising sun on a hillside. But the whole thing is just clawed and desecrated and looks like somebody, completely scraped it out or basically just desecrated it.
Then Mud will quickly make an orcish grave, which is little more than digging a couple handfuls of dirt out and throwing it over the body. And follow along.
So, with your failed will save there, as you toss that on the stuff, that last image that you get is just this face that is screwed in sort of agony, pain, fear. That's been basically, she died here with that look on her face, constantly just digs at you, haunts at you. You'll have a bane on most of the things you do this evening.
Sure.
Because it constantly just seems to nag at you. Almost everything, you just can't get your mind off of this. Something was not right with that whole thing. Up ahead, Victor, you can see the others as they start to come up behind you. You're able to follow this. And in the distance, Victor, you'll see that Izik's tracks and these drag marks from Irina break off from the main path and start to head into the woods. It's a small path through the woods, something you probably can't really take the horses into, but he definitely made his way into the woods. And where the road itself, the Svalich Road, would head, I guess would be east, this path leads north into the woods.
Is there any way that I can tell, from his tracks, how recent?
If you had to guess, maybe within the past 10 to 15 minutes at best. It's still fairly fresh. You can still see the puddles forming in his boot prints. The mud still sort of smeared. Quite recently, anyway.
I'm going to kind of wait a little bit for them to catch up. And if they're still kind of slowly kind of catching up, Victor's going to hop off the horse and start tying his to a nearby tree and then pull Vasily off and wait for them to catch up. And then I will inform them that he went up this trail. And we're very close. We're about, 10, 15 minutes behind.
To the east, you will constantly hear this creaking, splashing of the wagon wheels. It does feel like sound like it's pulling away, though, Victor. But you're pretty sure there's a wagon that's up ahead in the road as well, headed further east from where you're at. Is Mornek and what you guys leave behind this body, quick orcish grave, and pull ahead a little bit. It'll be just a few moments and you'll see Victor's form through the fog, his horse off to the side as he's tethered it. Him and Vasily standing there waiting for the both of you. Vasily will come over to you, Mud. Looks at you. She stole my voice. I couldn't speak. Felt like I couldn't breathe with her there. It wasn't her, was it?
It's kind of worried.
Yeah, there's a friend.
Wardeck's gonna dismount, go over, put his hand on the Sealy's shoulder, and just say,
and
"It was her."
And Mud will not argue that.
She looked through me as if I wasn't there, as if she didn't even recognize me. I can't mistake her. We have other things to worry about right now. Turn and sort of just drop it at that for the moment as he turns to Victor, and Victor motions towards this path that leads into the woods.
Let's go. Let's fight something we can touch. Let's make a difference here. And Mud's obviously not right at this time. He won't even look Vasily in the eye. Let's do something good. And he'll start stomping off along the trail.
You could follow this path into the woods. It'll only be a few moments, and you'll notice that this tree is overhead. They pretty much block out most of the rain. There seems to be just getting drizzles that come down through large drops of water that splatter on your cloaks. Even the sky up above the trees themselves almost takes on the soft, purplish sort of hue. The fog itself pulls away like fleeing tendrils and skeletal hands, all sort of retreating between the ferns and between the trunks of these old pine trees. You'll notice the bodies first, several of them splattered across the main path, a couple hanging from a tree. One of them completely severed in half as if the likes of a massive blade. These people don't look familiar. They look like peasants, like farmers you would have saw back in Barovia, or just minor merchants back in Valakai, just regular people.
Are they recent?
They are. Their blood still pools around their bodies. You can still feel the warmth of their bodies.
As in, like, the past few minutes recent, or?
Within the last few minutes recent, yes. One body, a second, a third. As you move your way down this path, none of them are armed. They all just look like basic farmers. There's no place around here you can see. It's just pine tree after pine tree, ferns. In total, there's 12 bodies you start to pass by. All of them have been completely mangled, though, and just severed by what looks to be a huge blade.
His axe did this.
I'll reach down for one of the bodies to shut the eyes and make sure I can actually make contact with everything else going on tonight. I'm just not sure.
Give me a perception. I'm going to say with one bane.
Ooh, 4.
4. So as you reach down, close the eyes of this body. It's a young man, maybe in his early 20s. The sandy-colored blonde hair. Most of his clothes are sort of raggedy, but he does have a bright green scarf that's tied around one arm. Looks to be decorated with these small little beads, colorful. Closes his eyes, his body lays there. He has a huge gash that runs from his collarbone right through his guts. One of his legs is almost nearly torn off. And his eyes will close gently. Then he will lurch forward, grabbing you by the throat, Mud. You can see his back arches up a little bit, and the whole skeletal frame lurches out of his back. His ribs, you can hear the snapping of them as they pull apart from his spinal column and spread out like these bat-like wings. His spine itself ends in this sharp needle-like point. And who would like to go fast? Well, actually, Mud, since you failed your perception, I get a surprise attack on you. 15. I'm not sure what your defense is.
You know what? It did just change. 1 second. 13.
Yeah, it just
15.
changed to like 200.
No, 15 is the exact what I have.
All right, well, that's a hit then.
Okay.
So he reaches out. You can feel the skeletal hand as it literally pulls forth from the flesh of this body. And as it reaches forward, the flesh of the arm just separates in front of you. Instead, the skeletal hand grabs around the side of your face. You can feel the needle of each bone, of each finger, press into your skull, tears through your cheek. It's going to be 7 points of damage. The other hand comes across, swiping across your chest. And you hear this screeches the whole skeletal form, sort of bat-like, the spine ending in this sort of stinger-like appendage, pulls free from the frame, and all around you, all 13 bodies begin to melt off of these things as they all take to the sky. The other 12 take off into the night. You can hear them screeching. You can hear the flap of, even though they don't look like they can fly because they're skeletons, they definitely take flight. You can hear them as they scatter amongst the trees around you guys, but it's just this one that is on top of you attacking you, Mud. So with that, who would like to go fast?
Good. If somebody else wants to.
Victor's going to go fast.
House full of
How far away from Mud am I?
I would say he stepped off, so probably like 10, 15 feet.
Finally got that one. I'm El Dorado.
Oh, okay.
Old.
I'm going to go slow.
Slow.
I think, I mean, it just makes sense that I'm going to go fast. I'm attached at the stage.
I remember Tyler calling me up.
I'll have Vasilis right there with you, so I'll have him go fast too. So Vasilis. So Victor, you would be up first then. You can see this thing has a hold of Mud. One hand across his face, the other hand looks like it's trying to dig into his chest. The other ones are all in flight above. So if you look up, Victor, you can see them circling above you in between the trees and stuff. They're not attacking you. Looks like they're breaking off and like going in different directions. You guys aren't a focus. They're just up above them.
So they're scattering. Victor's gonna take a sling and actually like try to chuck a stone at this thing that's attacking Mud. Just like I figure I'm not going to do much damage. It's more along the lines of, hey, come here, and I'm actually going to start yelling at it as well.
Okay.
Let's see. So 13?
That is a hit.
Score. I'm going to choose to do an extra d6 of damage instead of trying to attack another one.
With your power sling.
Yep. 7 points of damage.
Gotcha. See this stone as it cracks off the skull of this thing right in front of you. Mud, a bit of bone shattering off the side of it. As it turns its head towards Victor, but it has a hold of you still. So that's Victor. Anything else, Victor?
No, because I went fast. So,
I'll do Vasily after you then, Mud. So yeah, you can go, Mud.
So if it spins its head around towards Victor, Mud will take that opportunity to push its head out, reach down, and grab his flail and swing that around.
Don't forget you got a bane to this.
I'm actually going to roll it clean because as it swings around, shards of ice start reaching up on it. for a 14.
That is a hit.
All right. So that is 5 plus 2, 7 damage to it.
With a flail. Gotcha. See several of these sides, ribs, parts of the wings and stuff shatter off as your flail comes smashing into this thing. Off to the side, Vasily will swing his crossbow around and let loose. What does he have? Plus. Oh, damn. Vasily nails this thing. You'll see another arrow come to the side. It sort of smashes into a couple bones, not really doing a whole lot, being that it is an arrow on a skeletal thing, but it sort of lodges between a couple spinal columns of this thing, and it lets out another screech. And with that, it is going to just make another swipe at you with its claws. That's a nat 20, so I know it hits you.
Oh.
But 2 points of damage. Mud is again hit, just rakes across the front of you, and you can see its wings start sort of flapping, trying to pull this thing away from you. It tries to start getting away, but it's not going to be able to since part of it's shattered. And it would be up to your turn, Mornak, as you turn and look at this skeletal-like creature that's being blasted, that's holding on to Mud. All of you are going to hear a woman scream further up the path and just start screaming. Looks like somebody would be in fear or something, just echoing through these woods.
Me and my ex-girlfriend is going to try to
Okay, I want to do one of my unerring darts on this thing that's on Mud,
I know.
and that's going to shoot out 7 magic darts that each automatically hit for 1 damage.
Oop, that is exactly what you need, so go ahead and describe how you blow this thing up.
Mornak drops his staff on the ground,
To be honest.
waves his hands in some intricate pattern, and then pushes one hand out, and the 7 darts fling from the palm of his hand, and then all land in different spots on this creature that's attacking Mud.
You will just see bits and pieces of it just exploding off to the side of you, Mud, once, twice, as this thing explodes. And these blasts of magic coming off of Mornak's fingers. Looking up, you can see the last few of these things disappear into the darkness of the sky. You can hear their screeches in the distance, their flapping of their skeletal wings. But none of them come back to assault any of you. It looks like they just made their way off into the night. Again, you hear another scream just echo through the woods from further down this path. Most of the fog now is cleared from the forest floor, so you can see up ahead probably a good 20, 30 yards. And you can see what looks to be a large form. It's hard to make out because it's still a little bit foggy, but you can definitely see a large form standing next to a smaller form in the distance.
Victor's gonna bolt straight towards that.
were to go down
Hearing
there,
your screams, he's
I wouldn't go.
taking off running. Gonna be drawing his sword and is just heading straight there.
I think Mud will take the last piece of bone in his hand that after it's been blasted, just crush it and turn around and start stomping after Victor.
Vasily would follow as well as you guys take off. You're going to come up over a small knoll. And right at the top of this knoll, as you're running ahead, Victor, you can see this form. As you get up close, you can definitely recognize Isaac, his one huge grotesque arm holding this massive axe. You can see Irina's form down on her knees like she's sobbing into her hands or something beside him as he grabs a hold of her and pushes her forward. So sort of down this little knoll. As you get up to the top of this knoll, though, Victor, you don't see either one. Instead, you find yourself right at the shoreline of this huge black lake. It'll mirror the sky above these rolling grayish purple fogs, sort of like clouds. You can see a absolute stillness. It's like a sheer mirror surface. Say for far out onto the lake, maybe 100 yards or so, you can see a boat resting there, slowly bouncing back and forth, even though it doesn't seem to be any waves. You'll see this great, large, fat form sitting in the boat. Beside him is another smaller form, whimpering, coming, echoing across this lake. As you glance around, there is no Isaac. You don't see Irina. Looking down, Victor, you don't even see their footprints or anything. You can see where there used to be 3 boats pulled up onto the shoreline. 2 are just skid marks now, empty from the boat itself. There's 1 boat remaining, besides this one far out into the lake with 2 people on it. If you glance on either direction down the shoreline, it's just a fog bank. There's nothing really there. A few trees. And just dead silence.
I'm guessing from this distance, I can't tell if it's actually Irina and Isaac in the boat.
If you look out, it definitely has their forms. You can see one very large-looking man. You can't see his axe or anything to really pick him out, but there is a large man in a boat, and you can see what looks to be a smaller female-like form in the boat as well. They are currently, looks like they're arguing or struggling a little bit, but they're not like, you can't hear anything though.
The tracks, like you said, I didn't see any tracks anywhere. So Isaac's tracks did not lead up to one of the boats that's been pushed out.
Nope, as you glance and look around, it's just, you can see some tracks around, but they don't match Isaac's. You don't see the form of like Irina's drag marks or anything. It just looks like regular boots, and fairly older tracks too. You don't see these tracks that you've been following just seem to be gone.
Okay. I think Victor's gonna like immediately stop, and he's gonna like try to backtrack to where Isaac's last tracks were. And if anybody like looks or pays attention, like Victor's even gonna tell him, it's like, look, Isaac's tracks disappeared. I'm not sure if that's them out there.
Mornak's going to move to one of the remaining boats.
Yeah.
It's just a basic 2-person boat, Mornak, not a real fancy thing, just kind of like a basic fishing canoe, basically, that's pulled up on the shore. You can see a small anchor or, a line or something's tying it up to the bank so it doesn't float out. Simple little bench in the middle. You can see what looks to be a couple broken fish poles in the bottom of it and this small little net. That's it that's inside of it.
Come on, Victor. Get in the boat.
Why we're after Irina, not some strangers playing out in the water?
Well, and at the same time, it's like
Mornak points out there and says,
there.
"That's them. It's got to be them."
When you look out,
Victor starts pointing at the ground. Their tracks don't go to the water.
Yeah, no, it's not sweet. Did you ever notice that?
You gotta approach it the right way.
when you point out there, Mornek, and maybe Victor, you sort of look out, or Mud as well, you'll see the 2 forms, this larger form grab a hold of the smaller one. It looks like he picks her up and shakes her a little bit, and then he's going to hurl her off the side of the boat. When she hits the water, all of you can hear the splash and her scream. And then her flailing, between the gurgles and between screams, the splashing of water. You can see her struggling along the side of the boat. And from the boat itself, this other form keeps pushing her further and further with a stick, trying to get her away from the boat.
So as Mud stomps up, and hearing Victor say that he's watching the tracks, that's not them, can Mud actually make a hunter roll to see if Victor's right about the tracks?
So trying to kind of like do your own tracking? Yeah. You can give me a perception with a boon with your hunter.
This is actually perfection.
Well, wouldn't it cancel out because he does have that bane?
Well, that doesn't matter. This is actually perfection. As soon as Victor says that his Mudka's tromping up, Victor will just keep pushing Vasily and Mornak ahead. He's wrong. That's them. Because I rolled a 1 with a 6 on the Bane. So Mud truly believes that that's their tracks. That is them.
You will see tracks that lead up to where a boat went out, and you can see the boat out there. You can see this large man in a boat throw this smaller, looks like a female or girl. You can definitely tell it's a girl from her screams over the side. It definitely smells or sounds like Irina to you. That's her screams. You've heard them before.
Come on, Mud. And Mornak's just going to climb into the boat like he knows what he's doing.
Well, I kind of hate doing this without Vasily there, actually Tim, but like this Vasily, because I'm pretty sure like he will agree with Mud and Mornak since they've been together longer. But does like Vasily look like he's believing me at all, or is he trust Mud?
You can see he turns, puts his hands up as he's trying to peer out there. Let me roll for him and see what he gets, because he has pretty good perception as well. And that is a nat 20, and he has a boon as well. So completely opposite of Mud. He rolls a nat 20 and a 6 on his boon. So you can see he puts his hands up and he's looking through this fog. He says, that's not them. There's somebody else, some fat bastard and a girl. I don't know who they are. That is not them.
Wait, who's on first?
A few people out there like me.
So somebody should go check them out, and the rest of us can look around. He'll start poking around. He has no really good at tracking or anything, but he'll start looking around for tracks with you, Victor, or something.
Well, and I think Warnak already said he was undocking the boat, so Mud
She seemed like she would have been cool.
is sure those are their tracks. He's gonna go with Warnak.
All right, let's do it.
Then de facto, and she passed it
As
to
you
him.
push yourself off,
I
Mornak.
would like to keep a close eye on the group, like on our group that's on the boat. Like any sign of trouble, I'm picking up Vasily, like whether he's coming or not, picking up Vasily and taking him to a. Oh no, there's only one boat, isn't there?
There's only one boat, enough room for 2 people in it.
It's all right, Victor. You can swim with one arm.
Okay, so
But he needs that to carry
I
Vasily.
can swim with one arm with the goat. Yeah, with the goat. Yeah, that's gonna work.
You and me, Warnak. Let's do it.
All right. I push us away from the shore and climb into the canoe.
It's a simple little fishing paddle as you start to make your way out there. Which one of you is paddling?
That's me.
As you grab that, Mornak, you take the front, standing at the front of this little canoe, Mud behind. Every time you put this paddle in the water and push yourself forward, Mud, you can see a few ripples go across the water, but they quickly fade away as this whole lake seems supernaturally still. Push yourself out.
Actually, Morgan, I'd like to ask, how big is this lake?
From where you're at, it's pretty damn big. I mean, you can see the other bank on the other side, but you're guessing maybe at least a mile in width. And when you looked in each direction, it goes off for quite a long ways. It's a very big lake.
Okay, and does it look like the guy that's in the water? Like, where's he going?
He is just sitting out in the middle of the lake. You can see that he's throwing this girl over the side, and he's basically just pushing her away from getting back onto the boat with a stick or the paddle that he has or something. Basically not letting her get back onto the boat.
Okay. If he starts to like go in an opposite direction and like basically try to run away, Victor's going to try to make like a mad dash. First, he's going to like take something that's around, like a stick or something, and shove it in the ground to mark where we are, kind of deal, so he can get his. But if Victor's going to make a mad dash to try to basically beat him there, you know, on land, to basically try to trap him.
I got you. Yep.
But other than that, like, he's going to be like looking for tracks and seeing if he can find Izix.
Yeah, Vasily will stay with you as well, Victor, and both of you scout around as Mornek and Mud head out onto the boat. So, Mornek, with you standing at the front, Mud, you pushing yourself out. Again, the water, your boat moves, and, you know, as it splashes on you a little bit, it's definitely water, but it just seems very oddly still, almost strangely so as you guys paddle along. And still, again, absolute silence. You don't hear birds. You don't hear wolves. You don't hear the creaking of the trees, the sound of the wind, absolutely nothing. Just this girl's frenzied screams, her pleas for help in between their gurgles as this man is cursing and pushing her away from the boat with his paddle. Since you're rowing, Mud, why don't you give me a 1d6 roll? 4. So you actually make pretty good way as you start pushing the boat out, and, you know, being this still and quite a good paddle, you start headed out towards this boat. Up in the front, Mornek, you'll see what looks to be looks like a fish, a very large fish, passes by underneath your boat. It's more of a shadow of this great creature, easily 2-3 times the size of your canoe itself. And you will see just a small little blurb of water as it bubbles underneath your boat and gives it a slight rock before it rolls still again. But this great shadow under your boat continues, you know, maybe a good 2-3 feet under the surface. Just deep enough that you can't make out exactly what it is, but close enough that you can see the shadow. Is this heading out towards where this boat is in the distance, and this girl splashing in the water? As you head on out, you get about halfway there, Mud, and you'll see a fin crest up above the water as it starts to rise up, then a second, and a third, and a fourth fin, almost draconic, like this spiked fin that seems to, or a dorsal fin that goes down the length of this creature under the water, and it quickly picks up speed, heading right to where this girl in this boat is in the distance. As it crests up, you'll see what looks to be a massive bloated fish, 3 times the size of your canoe, gray and green mottled. It is covered in scales and open lesions, wounds. Every now and then you can see a little trail of blood behind it as it's making a straight beeline for this girl splashing in the water. What do you guys do?
I mean, I guess we're still working our way there, so I'm just going to focus on getting the boat over.
Does Mornek do anything as you see this pass underneath and start heading towards the girl?
Yeah, I think Mornak's gonna go ahead and shoot a magic dart at it. Just the basic one that does 1d3 plus 1 damage.
Right.
I just want to see what happens when it gets hit.
All right. It's right in front of you and quite massive. I don't know if that one automatically hits, but regardless, you automatically hit anyway. You'll see bits and pieces of this fleshy or fishy flesh blast off the side of it, streaks of blood in the water, and the whole thing will just go underneath the surface. You can see the ripples roll out and then just absolutely still again. Every now and then you can see trails of blood along the top of the water as Mud's pushing you forward. But it looks like the creature went down underneath. You see the shadow. Looks like it's getting deeper as it fades away a little bit.
Butter and milk, rice-a-ronies, or those noodle boxes that you could buy. You can get like a
Anything
10
else?
for $1. I would make that the whole
So are we close
thing.
enough now that
Bread,
we can see the guy on the boat?
cheese pizza from Papa John's.
Well, if you continue forward, yes.
I've been trying to
As
get
you get a little bit closer, you can see this girl screaming in the water
carrots.
up ahead, and you see this huge fat man in the boat. It's definitely not them, Mud, as you come in closer. And you can see the just dirty rags that are hanging off this fat fellow in the boat. He holds a fishing pole in one hand and a paddle in the other. The girl that's in the water, you can see this dirty blonde hair that's stuck to the side of her. She's naked save for just a few rags that hang around her waist, but I mean, she's kind of flailing in the water a little bit. And you see her just suddenly go absolutely still, this look of horror on her face. And she'll let out just a slight scream before her hands goes up, and you just see her get ripped underneath the water. This man will start laughing, and as he hurries over, he grabs a hold of this pole that he has in one hand, and he looks like a heavy cleaver type thing in the other, and he quickly throws it into the water, the end of this fishing line. He'll turn his head in your guys' direction, and this look of sort of surprise crosses his face. But it's definitely not Isaac or Irina.
The young girl just got pulled under, though.
Yes.
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
Turn this look of surprise on his face. It lasts for just a moment before you see these wide grin, these rotten teeth in his mouth. He looks like a bit of a 5 o'clock shadow. He's quite greasy and dirty. He says, "Oh, you come to help me get the girl. Come, hurry up. Let me get this fish. We'll be eating for weeks, friends.
Oh.
Would you like some wine with that? You look like people that like wine." And you hold up this half-filled bottle of, well, it's a bottle of wine, but you'll take a quick swig. Says, "It'll be surfacing in no time. When it does, we'll get that fish."
I'm going to throw something out there just because of timing. I'm going to look him in the eye and say, "Buford?"
Look, what? You know my name. What is yours? Oh, wait a minute. Here it comes.
Damn it.
And you'll see this fish come up out of the water. This girl's half in its mouth.
I dive in. Damn it. I knew it.
From the side of the boat, Mud will dive into the water. What do you do, Mornak?
Mud will look back to the shore of Vasily before he dives in, but he'll dive in.
Warnak is gonna just he's gonna stay on the boat, but he's gonna try and get in a position where he can try and throw his staff somewhere out to see if maybe he can get the woman to grab onto it if she's still conscious.
Yeah, you can see she's sort of half in the mouth and half out of it as this thing comes up out of the water. It's sort of cresting a little bit before it goes to dive back in. I'll say you to dive into the side, Mud. What are you doing when you dive in? You're muted.
I am actually muted, yes. I'm reaching out for the girl and trying to pull her away and reaching another hand towards the creature if I get her clear.
So both of you are trying. Well, then, let's see if one of you can do it. So, in your case, Mud, I'm going to need a strength for you to be swimming in the water and trying to get a further. So give me a strength check. You're going to have a bane from, this whole thing going on. And when you look at this, you see it's like, you can sort of see this girl in those flashbacks of Vasily's sister, and you can swear you saw the ghost of her face in his.
So that would be the 20 with the 1 on the bane.
All right. Yes. So you're trying to grab a hold of the girl, correct?
I'm trying to pull her and push her towards the boat as I reach out towards the creature, but mainly I'm pulling her away first.
So as this thing comes up, you're able to grab a hold of her hand, and she'll look over and sort of the surprised horror at you of all of a sudden being there, and she'll quickly reaches the hands out trying to grab a hold of anything that she can reach of you. One hand grabbing a hold of your 1 finger, 2 fingers, however many fingers you have left, and the other one slapping down around your wrist. And Mornek, why don't you give me an agility, since you're trying to sort of reach out your staff to give her something to grab a hold of, and trying to keep the boat balanced. And yeah, just a straight up agility. I don't think that would give you a boon or anything. So
That's a 17.
nice. So as you grab a hold of this girl, Mud, you put your one hand on this fish as you're trying to pull her back a little bit. And you can see Mornak's staff come forward, giving her something to grab a hold of as you pull, push this fish away, pulling this girl towards her the staff. She'll grab a hold of the end of this just as the fish is starting to go underneath. You can see her eyes bulge out a little bit. She lets out a bit of a scream. When the fish goes underneath the water, she's going to hold on to the edge of your staff, Mornak, as you start to pull it in. You can see blood just covering the water all around all of you. You see the fish go underneath Mud, and you can see that this girl has a hold of Victor Mornak's staff as he's pulling her in. You in the water. This fat man in the boat looks over at everybody sort of in astonishment, looking at where his prized fish just went. And he turns this angry look towards you, Mud, as he grabs a hold of this cleaver in his hand. What do you do?
So the fish went down. Fatty went for the cleaver.
Yep. The girl has the hold of Mornak's staff as he's pulling her over. Blood is just covering the water, though.
Is it blood from her? Can I tell?
As you look over, Mornak, as you pull this girl over, you can see that her eyes are bulging out, and she has this absolute look of horror on her face. You pull her over to the side of the boat. Mornak reach down and grab a hold of her hands and go to lift her up. She is completely ripped in half. You can just see everything fall out from her abdomen into the water as she lets out these last little bits of whispers and cries, but she is dead, completely ripped in half. The whole top of the water just fills with blood, with her intestines, with flesh. You can feel a slight tickle across your feet, Mud. A little bit more. You can see what looks to be small fish just feeding on some new food along the water. In the distance, you can see the crest of this huge fish's spines come up out of the water, maybe 10, 15 yards away as it's racing towards you. To the side, this man with the cleaver stands at the edge of his boat, looking at you, looking at the fish, just waiting for you to be eaten. Says, if she wasn't a bait, then you guess you would be good enough, beast.
I'll take one glance at the fish coming at me, take another glance at Buford, and I will call lightning right down on Buford.
All right. Give me just a moment, and we will hop over to you back at the shoreline, Victor. You and Vasily will stumble about for a moment. You'll look over, Victor, where you had seen Izek. You're positive you had seen him. You've seen his grotesque form, this deformed arm of his. You've seen that huge axe across his back. You saw Irina crouching down on this knoll. As you poke around, though, you don't see their tracks there anymore. And even if you follow the main path you were following back a little bit, again, there's no tracks of these two anywhere to be found. When you can hear the splash in the distance, you can hear this battle start going on. You hear this woman scream. You and Vasily can glance out, seeing Mornak as he pulls the half-severed body of this girl up into his canoe. This huge fish coming towards Mud. You'll hear a sound, Victor. Sound of heavy boot stomps. Sound of whimpering. Sound of crashing plants, a few tree limbs. And about 10 feet to your right, as you look over your shoulder, you see Izek and Irina as they come out of a separate path a little further down the bank side. He's got the hold of the back of her head in like one arm and is dragging her behind him. You can see she's in pain, just whimpering as he's dragging her along, but he'll stop dead in his tracks, looking at you, Victor, you looking at him. And he will throw this girl to the side, his huge demonic-like hand grabbing the hilt of his axe as he just stares back at you, not really making any move. He's about 15 feet away. Irina will kind of crab walk backwards on her as she's on the ground, pulling herself away a little bit to a stump where she hides behind it. This feared look in her eyes. What do you do?
Victor is going to. I almost see this as a cinematic moment. Like Victor is like he'll slowly reach up and grab the sword from his back and like kind of draw it, and me and Izzy, I think it's Izzy, is going to have like this epic showdown. And if only like thunder was happening in the background as we're having this stare off, and we're about to like run at each other and like start attacking. No idea what Vasily is doing. Like it's almost like the world and everyone else fades away, and it's just me and him. And this like normally Victor's emotions are very like happy, giddy. Like he doesn't show anger, but at this moment he is showing like true anger and hatred towards this man, and he's just ready to just charge at this guy and try to kill him.
Beautiful. And as you pull this sword off of your back, you're staring across to this foggy bank at him. He'll unhook his axe as well in this huge hand. You can see his whole arm erupts in this black flame that just covers that, rolls down the haft of his axe and across the blade. Arena's going to be behind him, trying to hide behind a stump. Looks like she's slowly trying to crawl away a little bit. You can hear the splash. This lightning crackles in the distance. There's a sound of thunder, and the streak of lightning comes down in the middle of the lake. We will do Mud's lightning first, and then we will enter initiative. What time is it? Why don't we go? Okay, go ahead and do your call lightning, but let's do that first.
So I was actually waiting for you to come back to me. If you don't mind, I was going to change it up just a bit. Still doing call lightning. But seeing the fish come forward, I was actually going to swim away to kind of plant myself in between the fish and Buford's boat.
Okay.
And call lightning right down on all three of us. Because it hits where it lands, it hits everything within 3 yards. So I want to move away from Warnack and catch myself included, but Buford and the fish.
All right. Do they do a save, or do you attack a certain...
They do a save, strength save, which I guess would be against my willpower in this case. It doesn't say what it's against. A strength save...
Oh, they make a strength save. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, does it say if they do it with a boon or a bane or anything?
They don't. It doesn't, no.
So just a straight up. All right. In that case, Buford completely fails. The fish will pass.
Okay. So I guess I got to make one myself, and that would be what against?
It'll be just a strength save, so it'd be your.
Okay, so
you 20 plus strength modifier with a 10 or higher.
I failed.
Right.
So whoever fails is deafened. Whoever succeeds is not deafened and takes half of the 18 damage I rolled.
So 18 damage is the total?
18 damage is the total.
All right.
So I'm deafened. Buford is deafened and takes 18, and the fish takes 9.
Got it. You see this blast of lightning come down. Buford's going to be throwing from the boat as he slams into the water, and begins to flail about, just covered in scorch marks and open wounds. You can see his hair was a bit on fire as he lands in the water. He's going to struggle for a few, but looks just completely mangled by this. The fish will drop below the surface quickly, and you can see that big shadow disappear under the water for a little bit as it's absolutely still around you. You can feel the water around your feet, the mud, as it swirls, and you know it's down there as it's pulled itself below, but you just can't see where it is at the moment. And it took 9 points of damage. Nice. So as this streak comes down behind you, Victor and Izek, you two will face off. What do you do, Victor? I'll let you go first. Go ahead and describe what you do as you face him. He doesn't make any move. He just stands there, almost beckoning you, almost challenging you, Victor. You can see this evil grin across the side of his face, these black flames that are rolling down his arm, down his blade.
I think he will, like, probably wait for a good 10 seconds, and then at the top of his lungs, he'll just yell out Izek, and then charge at him, and then he will hold. Let's see. I think he will like try to hold his sword up, almost like goading him, like he's going to attack upwards, and then just drop it down quickly and try to attack his legs. But I am going to do the combat trick of me basically taking a Bane and then giving a Bane to them attacking me. That one.
Okay.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Yep.
So, okay. So I will roll dead even. So that will be in 18, 20.
What is his defense? Yes, that is a hit.
Does it count like when I roll a 20, like an even 20, and if it's still 5 above, like does that still trigger, or does it have to be above 20?
It has to be a nat 20. Oh, for the attack thing. Yeah, it has to be a nat 20.
I thought it just had to be 20.
Pretty sure it has to be a net. Maybe I might be wrong.
Well, no. If it's your class ability, it has to be 5 above their armor. If that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it also has to be 20 and above.
Right, yes. So it's going to be 20 and above. It doesn't have to be a nat 20. It's going to be 20 above and 5 above their armor. So if their armor was 18, it would have to be 23.
You got it. And yeah, his armor or his defense is a 17, so I'm not sure what your total was, but if it's 5 above that and above a 20, then yes.
No. Oh, well, I mean, I didn't get it this time, so it's just going to be this amount. Because I'm trying to, like, squeeze out all the damn damage I can get. 9, 10, 11 points of damage.
They couldn't really throw a prayer there as I'm drowning in fighting fish.
So yeah, your blade will tear through this chest, digging deep into his shoulder blade. You pull it free, Victor. You see this flash, this splash of dark crimson across his armor. You'll see his face as it flinches a little bit. You see the corner of his mouth turn up in a little bit of a smile as he spits to the side. Says, "That is all you have. I waited all of this time for you to poke me with a toothpick." And he'll step forward with this huge axe as it comes in.
Well, in response, Victor's going to say, well, I do only have one arm.
Right, we have a 23 and a...
Is that a 23 with a bane?
Yep. And an 18 with a bane.
Holy shit, yeah, that's going to hit.
Is that 5 above your AC?
Yep.
And how about an 18? Is that a hit?
Luckily, no.
All right.
18 is going to be a hit, but it's not 5 above.
Gotcha. So you'll see this huge axe as it comes in. You feel the pain of the fire that's on this thing. It's not a heat. It doesn't burn. Instead, it's like an icy cold. It just seems to suck all emotion away from you, almost giving you a sense, this existential sense of absolute nothingness as it strikes you. And I hate to do this to you. 29 points of damage.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to immediately hit my triggered action and heal. So I only take basically 19.
Gotcha. it'll open up this huge gash across your chest. Then you see this huge demonic-like hand come forward, smacking you in the chest, throwing you back a few feet to smack into a tree. And he'll stand there, staring at you for a few moments. This isn't even fair. And he'll start moving forward again towards you, Victor. His axe comes up once more. You can see this black flame just wrap around his body. And then you can hear a voice behind him. Mornak and Victor, you two will see this blast of almost looks like black flame from the shore side. And as both of you look in that direction as well, you can see Izek and Victor battling for a moment. Victor gets thrown to the side, smashing into a tree. You can see Vasily starting to creep forward, this long black blade in his hands. And you two will see a third form as it steps out from this heavy, thick fog that's wrapping around the edge of the forest and comes up behind Izek. Though you can't hear it, you can see this tall man, pale skins, black leather armor, and the billowing cape that flows behind him. As you're there, Victor, you don't see the man that stands behind Izek since Izek's form is in front of you, but you hear his voice. And it's just a simple word. Stop. And you'll see Izek go straight, his eyes widening a little bit. You hear Irina's whimper. And Izek will completely stop where he's at, getting ready mid-swing to take your head off, Victor. Behind him, Strahd will stand there, the smoke, the fog billowing around his legs. And we will save it there for the evening. Any last moments?
Basically the side
What a
of the
cliffhanger.
with the built up, like spread apart, with the built up middle.
Well, at least it's not the swashbuckler.
And patio doors to both sides of the house.
There,
And
I would
live-
stop